Today we've got Christina. So Christina is actually quite special. She was one of the first virtual workers and also a freelancer. I think, Christina, how long have you been in the industry now?
Roughly about 12 years, going 12 years, I think.
Okay, so Christina's been in industry for over 12 years, working online before it became a thing and before it became an industry. So realistically, in digital world, Christina, you've probably seen two to three different generations or styles of working, haven't you?
Yes.
Excellent. So, Christina, well, what I'll do is, if you can just start off, I'm sure everybody is very curious to learn a little bit more about you, where in the Philippines you live, and a little bit about your family background, and more importantly, how did you get into freelancing?
Okay, sure. Hello, my name is Christina, and I am from the Philippines in Calamba, Laguna.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in the freelancing industry since 2010, I think. Um, and yep, as Gia mentioned, I've been here even before this became a thing here in our country. And I consider myself really lucky to have stayed in this industry for that long already. Um, and I started freelancing. I think that was 2010 when I got pregnant. I got interested into this industry when a friend of mine recommended working online. It was way back. It was called Upwork before. I mean Odesk before it became Upwork. It was actually called Odesk, and he mentioned that he used to be a colleague back when I was still working in a call center. And when I told him that I am actually struggling with how I'm going to handle my time once I gave birth, because that time I was pregnant, and I was really I don't know how I will be able to manage my time being a new mother and also a full-time call center agent. And that was when he recommended Odesk, and he said that I can try and apply in one of their job openings via Odesk. And from there, yeah, I got really interested, and I didn't even know that I can earn money from writing because I've always loved to write. I think back in elementary days I am already writing poems and short stories, essays, but I never thought that I can make a living out of it. And so I remember the first job that I have on Odesk. It was a YouTube commenter. All I had to do was just leave comments on YouTube videos, and I was really excited to get started because that was the first legitimate job that I had. I was paid hourly. I think that was $1, US
Mm-hmm.
dollar per hour. And yeah, and from there I realized and I discovered that there are actually a lot of opportunities online that you can do, especially if you have the skills and the desire, the passion to learn.
And so, Christina, is it true? So, since that first opportunity to get work via Odesk, you've always stayed working online?
Yes, ever since that, actually, when I gave birth in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
I I was on maternity leave for more than 2 months, and
Mm-hmm.
I extended that leave, and I took that opportunity to buy a computer and discover the different opportunities that were available that time. And then when I went back to the office, it's just to render my resignation, and that's it. I said goodbye. I said my goodbyes, and I was actually not really 100% sure that I will be successful with freelancing, but because I really wanted to, be there for my daughter, stay at home and watch her grow, which is actually the best decision that I've made in my life.
So what really piqued me, what I really picked up there was that whilst a lot of people try initially to get some work online, you pretty much knew very quickly once you had the first opportunity, this is for you, and you basically, as people would say, you just went chips all in. Am I right? You just
Yes.
you didn't even contemplate the possibility of failure. You just thought this is
No.
it.
Now
Yep.
that I think about it, yep, I never actually considered the possibility of failing. I was just, I wanted to make it work. I had to make it work.
Well, with online working, right? I mean, it's growing at an annualized rate of 8% compounded. So back in 2010, when this first started, so let's put in perspective, there's about 1.1 million Filipinos, Pinoys, actually working online in your country now. So think about it, let's say 12 years ago, you were probably, there was probably only less than 100,000 people probably working online.
Yes,
And
that's
this
true.
and this is also before super high speed Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
actually, I remember using prepaid internet,
Oh
the
god.
one that you need to buy at the store just to have the internet load for like 3 days, and
Yep.
there's limited bandwidth.
Oh
Now
my
that I think about it, looking back at all my struggles back then.
Yes. So I mean, so now, okay, so you were initially starting off. I think what's really curious here is, and I really want to focus, it's not just so much for the people who have started or wanting to get into freelancing or working virtually, but more for the people who've actually been in the industry for a few years now, right? And now they're ready to take their career to a next level. So I'm really curious, like, so you are now more of a senior writer, and full disclosure to the audience is you actually work right now full time for Elite Digital Campaigns, and we're so privileged to have you on board. So my question here is, how did your writing evolve, and how did you continually develop your skills?
I think that writing is more of a talent, but
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you no longer have to, to nurture and to practice. It
yeah.
takes practice, it takes time, and it takes a lot of trial and error before you can really say that you actually, I don't even consider myself an expert already. I
Mhm.
think that I would like to say that I am still in the process of learning. I'm still in the
Sure.
process of mastering the craft, because writing is an never ending process. It's a process that you need to continue to master and
Yeah.
to practice. And I think I started with essay writing,
Yeah.
creative writing actually. And
Mm.
over the years, I have learned that if I want to stay on this industry, I need to, to learn what the clients are looking for. What do they need? What are they looking for in a writer? And that means, upskilling and learning a lot of things about the industry, about the trends,
Mm-hmm.
especially with SEO and all. You need to
Yeah.
be, you need to at least know the basics, so that when you are applying for jobs, you would say that I am a writer with SEO knowledge,
Mm.
and I know I know stuff like keyword density, things
Yes.
like that. Because you can't just be a writer that don't have anything to offer.
Yep. That
You
is
need
really
to.
true.
Mhm.
And explain to the our audience. I believe you're also in the final year of studying your Bachelor of Communications.
Yes.
Yeah. That's really challenging, right? Because you are now, obviously, from our exposure, you are the primary breadwinner in your family. You have a young daughter. You're working full time with us, and you're now also studying to get a bachelor degree.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All the women and men out there are probably thinking, how do you do it, Christina? How do you juggle your time and stay motivated to keep investing in yourself?
I think it's all about priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Setting your priorities so that you can, manage your time. Because at the end of the day, as you said, I am a breadwinner and of course a student. I need to prioritize what I need to, to so that I can manage my time well. I don't have the luxury of slacking off and, watching movies all day. Even if I want to, I need to resist the temptation, because, as I've said, priorities. And I think it's also important that you have your motivation. You
Yep.
have something that you consider that pushes you to be at your best every day. And for me, that is my daughter and my family, of course, and
Yeah.
my dreams, because I've always wanted to have a bachelor's degree. And so when I had the chance, the opportunity to make it happen, I took it, even if I wasn't sure that if it's going to work out, especially since because I'm working full time. But thankfully, I am now on my fourth year, and I'm looking forward to graduating next year.
That is, I think that's a really timely reminder for everyone who is watching this, whether they are starting their career, thinking about going into the virtual working environment, or whether they're actually looking at progressing. I mean, people, the only limitation really is your own mind, isn't it, Christina? And
Right.
we've really, you know, our team, we've really seen you blossom in the last few months, particularly. And we're now getting the benefits of actually having a writer who also understands PR and communications. That's a really powerful skill and value adding that now another writer may not be able to compete with you on, right?
Mhm. Right. Thank you for that. I'm glad that you appreciate my contribution.
Well, and another question I think a lot of the viewers want to know would be, okay, so you find time to better yourself. Perhaps you can give us some concrete ideas, like is there any websites or is there any tools that you use to continue upskilling apart from going to university, which you're obviously doing?
As a writer, I'm mostly using the internet,
Mhm.
Google, because
Sure.
when you're a writer, you have to, have that researching skills,
Yep.
top-notch researching skills, because most of the time we would be writing articles from scratch.
Mm,
There would be instances when a client would only hand you like a sentence or
mhm.
two about the topic, and that's everything is up to you, how you're going to craft, how you're going to start, even the title. You need to be really creative and resourceful. So that's where the researching skills come in. And
Mhm.
of course, Grammarly, I find Grammarly really helpful, especially if you're not a native English speaker, because of course we're Filipinos, and we can't really help it if we get confused at times with prepositions and conjunctions and stuff. So I find Grammarly really helpful. And
Mhm.
what else? Um, I always take the time to read a lot of online resources, especially those that are from credible websites such as Wall Street Journal, Search
Mhm.
Engine Journal, the Times, Forbes, because those are the websites that really offer valuable information and updates, especially if you're looking for a better use of your time instead of binge watching movies or reading anything. So that's it.
I think it's highly reflective in the quality of the content that you're producing. Obviously, for us, our clients, and even your portfolio when we read it, um, that the quality of the research really also determines the quality of the output in your writing. And I think it's really critical, again, timely reminder that if you do specialize in writing, that what's the three things you think a good writer should have before they even should, you know, because you can specialize in so many things online, right? But what's the three things you would say you really need to have before you even consider specializing in writing?
I think analytical skills is very
Yep.
important
Mm-hmm.
to find out or to analyze which of those information that you find online are really credible, because
Yep.
when you search for something, you end up with thousands and hundreds of results, and it's up to you to determine which of those information would be useful and valuable. Second, I think, would be curiosity.
Yep.
You need to be really curious about something, even if that is not your niche. You're writing about something that you don't really understand. You need
Mm-hmm.
to be curious. You need to satisfy that curiosity, so that you end up writing something that's really good and something that other readers would want to read. And then lastly would be the researching skills, I think,
Yep.
because as I've said, it's really important when you're a writer.
Tremendous. Thank you for such a, I would definitely love to have you back and we can talk about researching. So we can talk about how, you know, because I think research is a process. I think that if you follow a process, you should usually find very good, high quality literature to reflect on. I do believe I have one more question in my mind. I think our viewers would really very much appreciate would be to learn. Okay, so you have been in the industry for 12 years. I would ask you, what is the biggest difference you think when you look for people who are starting now versus when you started 12 years ago? What's the biggest difference?
Biggest difference I think is today there are actually more information that you can find about freelancing.
Great.
Because back in the day, there's not a lot of help and information, online resources that we can find. We actually had to learn everything on our own.
Yes.
We had to mentor each other. We had to, you know, to make things work on our own. And I think that's something that freelancers nowadays should be thankful of, because they can actually refer to resources, online resources, bloggers, article writers that are actually more than willing to help out, and they should make use of that. They should take advantage of that, because believe me, it's something that I would have been really, really grateful for.
What information would you have been grateful for?
I think it would be really useful if I learned how to ask for a better rate. Because before, when we were flying, we will just take whatever's offered to us. We don't know how to negotiate, and we didn't even know that we can negotiate. I mean, whenever there is something that it is offered to us, we would just grab it and be thankful that we have a job. But today, you can actually negotiate and you can get what you want, as long as you know how to work on it.
And also maybe like how to get a good client as well, because not all clients are the same, right, Christina?
Yes, and of course how to identify a scam client from one that's legit, because unfortunately there are actually a lot of scammers nowadays online, especially if they know that newbies are actually desperate to find online jobs, and there are actually those who would ask for upfront payment just to get a job, and unbelievable, but some Filipinos still fall for that scam.
I think if there's anything I would definitely advocate to all the viewers out there is you should never ever have to pay to start work. There's a problem there. If anybody asks you to pay for any subscription or any membership fee to start working, that is 1000% illegitimate, and we don't endorse that at all.
And also, if the offer is too good to be true and it's just data entry, I mean, come on, thousands of dollars for just data entry.
And how would they end up scamming you though then, Christina? Which is really, really curious. So, okay, so for the viewers out there, so you've been offered, let's say, $1,000 to do data entry per month, which is a lot of money for just basic data entry. How do they end up scamming you?
I think that they're asking for like a deposit. You have to send it via, it could be via PayPal or via Western Union, something like that.
Yep.
And yes.
And are they asking, why would they ask for a deposit?
Because they said that it's to secure the account. I've actually encountered one before. It's obviously a scam, and it's fascinating because they think that Filipinos are just too naive and they would fall for that kind of scam, and they would ask for upfront payment, saying that before you can make an account with us, you need to pay, so that, and then after that, it's like a deposit. They're claiming that it's a deposit payment, and they would return the money once you are already a member.
I think it comes back to this. There is. I think working online is really no different to actually getting a physical job. You would still go and attend an interview, You would research the company, you would prepare the interview, and I have yet to hear a proper employer, let's say at the office, that actually asks you to pay a deposit before you
Right.
get paid. So there's really no difference. Yeah. Thank you for Christy for sharing that actually. And okay, so one more. And what advice, knowing what you now know, would you give to somebody who is, let's say, who's been freelancing now for about, let's say, 18 months, and they want to make this their lifelong career? What advice would you give them on how to blossom, knowing now what you know? How can they take their career into just being a job, make this from a job into a proper career?
I think for me, it's to love what you do. I mean, I read from somewhere that work on a job that you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Because and until today, it's something that I really reflect on, because I think that when you love what you're doing, you are always excited to go to work, even if it's just online. You're excited to clock in and say hello, say good morning to your teammates and to your employers. And you're always, you're happy and eager to learn and to upskill. When you love what you do, everything follows. The passion and the determination to learn, even if at times you might encounter struggles or along the way. But as long as you love what you're doing and you're willing to do the work, it's not just enough that you love it, because you should also know that determination needs to be accompanied by passion and desire to learn. Of course, you also need to have the desire to learn, because freelancing is not something, it's not for everyone, but if you are determined and passionate enough, you can get there. At first, of course, it would be challenging, because as a newbie, you'll have to encounter a lot of struggles and challenges. But with enough determination and passion, I think that everyone can do this, and to never stop learning, of course. You have to always have that hunger for new information, new talent, new skills, because at some point you will realize that what you have is not enough. Even if you think that you've acquired many years and many experience already, at some point you will need to upskill so that you can have something better to offer, something that both you and your employers can take advantage of in the future.
I totally agree with that. I think when you love something, it shows through. And I think that with what I am seeing in the online space is that there is so many opportunities, that there is scope for everyone to find something online that they are genuinely passionate about, and that they can actually refine their skills in and make it a career. Like, everyone's going to want to be a writer. And same thing as upskilling as well. Christina, we're seeing that AI is potentially in the next 10 years going to probably be able to write better than a human. So if you really think about it, we're scared. I mean, if you think about it for writers, right, they're thinking, well, if an AI can write better than a human, but there is space, then the question here is, how is AI writing better than a human? Then how can you add value on that writing and continue to humanize it and improve it? That's, rather than seeing it as a threat, but seeing it as an opportunity. That's the key, right?
Yes, of course. And I think that we don't have anything to be afraid of. In case that happens, because at the end of the day, the human voice will always prevail.
That is very much true. People still want to deal with people, Christina.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, Christina, and giving us so much insight and wisdom into what you've done. It's not every day that we come across someone with so much experience in the space, and I'm sure you've been through some highs, some lows, and for you to share it and to still love it, that's powerful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.